All right, we're gonna go out and pick up my bass bow now. Maybe I'll play a little something, a little ditty on the bass for y'all.
That's how I do it. Okay.
Cool, I'm here with Ira Kraemer. Ira is 83 years old. He's been working in the violin shop for how long?
58 years.
58 years. I have a bass bow that he just rehaired for me. I want to show you. And I'm going to give you that.
Okay.
Beautiful new rehair job on the bass bow there.
Okay.
You're going to get to hear the sound later. And look at this fascinating
Messy
shot. Messy shot. We'll say messy too. You told me a little bit about your collection here.
My collection has been going since the 58 years I've been in business.
Uh-huh.
And it has built up in quantity and quality within that time.
Uh-huh.
But there are also those 18th century instruments that would come in every once in a while.
The Italian ones?
The Italian one. That's where the excitement is.
Yeah.
Because these instruments, being 250 to 300 years old, have quite a history in ownership and how they were played. If you go back to 1750, let's say, there were no electric saws, no band saws, no routers. Nothing, not even planers to join the plates. Everything was completely by hand.
Right.
Well, now we have CNC machines that can do all the carving.
Yeah.
You know, and the cutting and computer and aggregated control. It's a matter of using a cutter like a router or a milling machine, which is programmed. If you take a violin plate and see the curvature on it.
Yeah.
It's not the same thickness all the way across or top. It's thinner at the edges than it is in the middle. The factories in China, for instance, I had seen some instruments made by that process in China, and they all look exactly the same. There's no variation. Whereas if a maker is a craftsman, he may say, well, I'm going to change the shape of the scroll a little.
Yeah.
And we don't see that anymore.
You don't get that, like, in the moment, maybe
No.
I will do a little bit thicker here, a little bit thinner here
we don't
for this
see
instrument.
No, we don't see that.
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say that, because there are makers who still work in the old way. They make one instrument at a time. They choose the wood very carefully. They choose the pattern very carefully. And maybe they make 2 instruments a year.
Take a little gander at your shop here.
It's as messy as it can be, but
Yeah. What's something in the business that people do not know?
We don't know why a Stradivarius sounds the way it does.
Yeah, we still don't know that.
We don't know that. We have no
And
idea.
it's been studied by modern science.
There have been all kinds of theories, that the wood was floated down the river and all the salt content had something to do with it. Others say it was his varnish. Others say it was his craftsmanship.
But can't we replicate that density and varnish and everything?
We have replicated
Exactly.
the sound.
Wow.
Antonio Stradivari was very fussy on what he used.
Yeah.
And the story is that he used to go into the forest with a hammer and tap on the tree.
Yeah.
When he heard a certain sound, he knew that was a good one. That's one of the theories. The other theory is that the instruments that he built were played on so many years, by virtuoso players, that they did develop a certain voice. Now, I've heard instruments not made by Stradivarius that sound just as good.
Right.
Not all, but there are some that sound just as good.
Right.
And I think it's the name that determines the price. If that correct name is in there and certified to be original, you're talking in the millions.
Right.
You take a maker who is, well, I'll show you an example if you have a minute.
Sure. It's a beautiful instrument.
It is an extremely beautiful instrument.
I'm not a violin expert, but let's see what it says on that.
It says Petrus Antonius Cati, C-A-T-I,
Catchy.
Florentius,
Uh-huh.
meaning it was built in Florence. Fecit, built, I don't know, 17. First digit is 5, and I can't make out the fourth digit. Now, this is an instrument which has craftsmanship just about equal to Stradivari.
Yeah.
The problem is the maker is virtually unknown. Look at it. When you look at the craftsmanship, when you look at the choice of materials, superior.
That is fascinating. And then what would something like that fetch today?
About 50,000.
50,000?
Yeah.
And it could be played in a professional orchestra around the world?
It is
that
absolutely of that level.
Yeah.
Whether you are going to play the Mendelssohn Concerto in Carnegie Hall, you probably want a Stradivarius.
You would borrow a Stradivarius for that?
or maybe you were looking at home. You know.
Yeah.
I think to a person who's used to hearing vintage and antique instruments, this would probably have a better sound.
Is it a darker tone? Is it deeper? Is it
More powerful.
Powerful.
But you know, the fact that these things exist, you know, and are still functional, is amazing.
Well, thanks for sharing that.
Oh, no problem.
It's amazing.
It was an old Italian instrument by a very famous maker, Joseph Galliano in Naples, 1765. I had to acquire that instrument because I knew where it was going value-wise.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did, because that's going to be my retirement.
Right. So.
Well, I have people who call me and want me to make investments in, you know, stocks, and I said, no, I only invest in old violins. And they go, what?
Right.
I had no idea.
Right.
So, you know, the stuff is out there. It's sitting in closets. And every once in a while, you happen to.
And people don't realize what they have. Yeah.
And I found some good instruments at flea markets, too.
Mm-hmm.
What's next is my wife will have to dispose of this when I go.
Gotcha.
That's what's next.
You're going until the day you're gone. You're going to be in here working in the shop.
I'm going to be working until my hands can't do it anymore.
Right.
You know.
And home. Look forward to playing this. See you there.